Hello. It's been another couple of weeks. Last video, we spent an inordinate amount of time building this. The first section of the underground portion of the city that serves as the main thoroughfare from the gate at the front up to the main body of the city that is very definitely yet to be built. And, well, may never be built if we keep going at this rate. We'll see. I live in hope. But hey, at least we got this room done, and we can now move on to other things. I might have lied. There's one thing that I would like to do in this room before we move on. So, I only really started playing Minecraft again about 2 or so years ago. Prior to that, I was building really in about like 2014, and then before then, like prime Fire UK time. At the time, I wasn't really aware of texturing as a technique in building. It was all size and trim, essentially. These days, so much cool stuff is done with texturing. So I would like to try and apply some of that to what we've done here. Specifically, I want to add in a bit more texturing underneath where this lip is, and then also where the vegetation on the roof meets the wall. So how are we going to apply this here? Basically, we're going to take the darker blocks as standing in for wetter rock, which I'm assuming would be closer to the vegetation because this would hold more moisture than bare rock. And then as we go away from the soil, we'll use the lighter textures. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, I think this is a pretty good example of what I'm trying to go for here. We're using the deep slate in the kind of like side-on facing orientation to represent the darkest rock, which means the wettest rock. That's right next to the soil, right? Because the soil is going to be sopping wet. And then as we move towards the lighter textures, that's meant to represent the rock getting drier. It's very much a new technique that I'm trying to get better at, because as I say, when I played Minecraft back in the day, it wasn't really a thing, to be honest. Okay, I think this segment is basically done. So let's apply this onto the other side and see what we come up with. Done the other side, as you can see, looking pretty good. If anything, it just makes it look a little bit more interesting. You add in a few more textures and just makes the whole thing feel a little bit better. From afar, it gets the effect of moisture running down and like shading, doesn't it? Shadow. It's a shame I didn't put it everywhere else, really. Well, swiftly moving on. I've also done it underneath the green bits. You really can't tell that it's actually there without really looking for it. There you go, look. Seen it there. Which means I probably could have gotten away without doing it at all. But honestly, I feel better knowing it's up there. Okay, so now it's on to the first of the 2 chambers that are branching off from this main room. The more military one. If you remember from last time, we had categorically proven that door equals military. Started just putting a hallway down. I don't want it to go too far off into the distance because I actually don't want this to be... Well, and on the other side as well, I don't really want these to be very extensive. This is absolutely not meant to be the major or even remotely main part of the city. Most of the time, people are just going to go right up through there. So I don't want to get sidetracked by sleepwalking my way into a fucking underground city build. So I'll just put a few rooms off of this hallway. Okay, what are we going to put here? Good start. I think I'm just going to hollow out the room before I try and do anything fancy. Okay, we've cleared out a room. Man, I should really probably make this more interesting than just a fucking cube, shouldn't I? Oh, but it would be so nice and easy to just make it be a cube. I feel like you always run into these things, situations where, like, you could... Like, this would be such a fucking easy way to do this, right? Just kind of ornament and decorate this room. Add a little bit of a fucking, maybe a vault, some stuff, so that it's not just a fucking cube like it is at the moment. But then you think to yourself, like, oh, I could make it really cool. I could terraform it to make it look like a natural bit of the cave. There could be a little path thing that goes on there, and like a staircase up. There could be a little fucking gorge thing here with a river going through. Then you end up stuck in this, like, toss-up between, do I do the easy way or do I do the hard way? Easy way, hard way. Easy way, hard way. Fuck's sake. Okay, here we are. I'm actually really pretty happy with how this went, and I think it was well worth doing. The cube room was really, really fucking boring. Of course, needs quite a bit more work, but in terms of the bare structure, this is pretty good. We've got a walkway coming down here that's got several chambers off it. I think I'm just going to make them storage rooms. I was umming and ahhing with the idea of making them prison cells, but I think I'm just going to make them storage rooms. There's a slightly bigger one here. Again, well, not finished. Then we've got a little bridgey thing. And in here is going to be the armory. So we're going to fill this with rows of chests, armor stands, furnace at the back, such like. Coming back out here, this gorge is going to have a river going through it. It's going to come out of here, go down this way, and then disappear off down there. Now, it looks like that disappears off into nothingness, but it's actually not as cool as you think. It's just black concrete blocks. And look, you can see them up there as well. You can see I've already started playing around with the textures. We're going to have to keep doing this all over the joint. This walkway is going to lead up to office admin space. This is where I would imagine the administrative function of the garrison unit that has been posted to this part of the city would take place. So let's continue though. Where were we? Texturing. And I think where we'll start is just following the path of the river. And then once we've textured that, we'll put the water on. Okay, so I think we've finished up texturing the river here. I think for now, I'm okay with this. So let's try, fingers crossed, it's going to be easy, to just get the water in place. I really hope it's fucking easy. I really cannot be bothered for this to be difficult. Fuck it, let's just see where the water goes naturally. Be free! Well, that was a little underwhelming. Oh my god, I just fucked up massively. Holy shit. What the fuck just happened? Okay, that's working. Jesus Christ. That was... my fucking heart was in my throat there, honestly. Fuck. I think we can consider, for now, the river done. Now I'm going to put in the paths. I'm going to change the paths a little bit. Add some smooth stone in there. Not too much, but some. Okay, so let's bring you in here. I don't really have a plan for how I'm wanting the floors to look here. I just know that I don't want it to all be one thing or the other. Is this too much? I want it to feel like a cave, but then it's a functional space. Like, it's not a fucking cave. Like, it's got function to it, so I need that to be some indication of that. I'm just gonna really sparsely put in some stone bricks. I think I'm okay with this path layout. It provides some continuity from this, which is obviously very manufactured, and this, which would be like completely au naturel. It's a nice hybrid between the two. Let's continue it around the other places. Okay. We've finished up the paths. I think we've got a pretty good balance between civilized and natural here. If we take all smooth stone as being totally artificial, and we take kind of all stone as being entirely natural, I think we've got a pretty good balance here. I think now what we're going to do is... what are we going to do? I think we need to get some more colours in here. Some of these other types of block. Yeah, okay. I think we do it like this. I think we put splodges of this around the place and then see what it looks like. actually, while we're here, let's put some vegetation in, just to give an idea of what the final thing is going to look like. So this is roughly what we're going to try and do here. In splodges of dark, surrounded by lighter greys before you get into the actual stone of the wall. Then we're going to put in a little bit of vegetation, and we're just going to use the glowberries, I think, and then the hanging roots as well. Okay, let's put this all over the place. It's a little bit later, and we've made some decent progress. As you can see, we've done all of the outside wall, coming all the way back around to here, and we've done the roof. Basically just carried on what I had done over there, putting in a little bit of glowberries and some hanging roots, and then topped it all off with just a few smaller vines. I didn't want to add too much in the way of vinage. We've got a happy medium at the moment. In the main room over there, there's a lot, and I didn't really want quite the same sense of crowding in here. Also, particularly because this is an even further underground room, so even this degree of greenery is a little bit suspect, to be completely honest, but hey, fuck it, it's a fantasy thing. Next is just to continue all of this down here. And voila! We have finished the texturing, finally. I am quite happy with this. Importantly, it now means we can actually get on with doing the interior and making this look like it's actually used and it's not just a big empty space. However, I am shite at interiors, and so this could be rather rough. I want a table here. That is why I'm doing this monstrosity of stairs. I think I like this colour. Fuck it, I like this colour. Do I want to put barriers here? Or I think barriers would make it look a bit shit. Yeah, no barriers, no barriers. Go for that classic, like, just horrifically dangerous architecture that seems to be kind of throughout fantasy universes. Does it make sense? Fuck. Does it make sense to have candles here? I think it does. Let's also put a table up here. Let's have this be the head honcho's desk. Not potato. Looks kind of like a cup of coffee, I suppose. That's fine. Nice, 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 nice. Wish you could, like, hang swords, though. That would be the thing. Like, if you could, like, hang tools or something. I think this area is good. I'm going to try and tackle this open area, see if I can come up with some good ideas for what can go here. Okay, it's a little bit later, and I have done it. We've got a mostly complete interior for this section, and also down there, because I was a little bit busy down there as well. What have we got? We've got some desks for underlings, grunts here, grunt desks, as you can see by the relative position and size. There's a few blocks you can use that look pretty good, actually, as furniture pieces. I only just found out you can use the loom to look like empty bookcases. It's pretty neat. This also looks bizarrely like a filing cabinet or a moving box. That literally... This is the beehive thing, right? It looks like a filing cabinet or a box that would be filled with files. Then your classic barrels. This is a fucking cartography table. This side of it kind of looks like a crate. Random assortment of storage shit. A little fire pit. This is a bit strange. This is a bit out there. I don't know if I really like it. I'm not really that happy with this, but to be completely honest with you, I am so over this. Moving down here, these 3 rooms are now done. Yeah, this is just a storage room. There's really nothing much else to say in here. Looks a bit dingy, a bit dark. 2 storage rooms. This one is meant to be like a little jail thing. Tried to make this one a little bit different. It's just a tiny little jail. This isn't meant to be like a major prison or anything. It's just where, like, I don't know, drunks would be taken for a night or 2 or something. It's a bit of a fucking ball ache to walk around though with all this, like, slabby, starey shite. Moving on. This is just meant to be a kind of quite basic workshop for, like, quick repairs or modifications. I feel like this would be the thing that's used. So we've got, like, a few things to make it look functional. This kind of looks like a cabinet, like one of those fucking tool cabinets that have tons of shelves that like, tool people fill with tools. Anyway, yeah, that's just with the jungle trapdoor. Oh, fuck me, I've just seen this again. I'm really just thoroughly about this fire pit. Like, this is just fully floating in midair. I also put it on this diagonal, which means it's off-center. Oh, God, there's so many things wrong with this. Fuck me. It's just so rough. Anyway, that brings us on to the last part of this room that needs to be done. Fuck, I haven't done the pillars. Anyway, it's this room. This is going to be an armory, so it's a little bit bigger. I think this is going to have like the major weapon stores for the unit and a bigger workshop. I'm not going to put a forge down here because I just don't think it makes sense and I can't be fucked. So let's think about how we want to do this. I kind of am unsure about whether or not I want to use the deep slate bricks like I did for the little jail thing, or whether or not I want to use wood. I think I want to use wood. I think I want this to feel a bit warmer. So let us get rid of all this. Bop, 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 bop. And let's get a few of these. It's also just so fucking dark. Can't see what the fuck I'm doing. Okay, what color? What base color do I want? I think I like this one more. I think the general idea is that we're gonna beam this. Is that a word? Is that a verb? Extend these pillars down. We're gonna put some sort of like wooden bracer arches across. We might even do some things straight across. And then just really go from there, you know. What a brilliant plan. Okay, how do we want to approach this next bit? I think we want to come out a block there. Otherwise, it's gonna look like shit. Okay, I might have cut ahead a little bit. I realised that we've got so much more to get through in this video, and while doing this room was quite fun, a lot of it was quite painstaking, so I thought, let's just skip to the end. So, what have we got? We lined the sides with storage, and also the back with storage. This is just a hopper with a bunch of trapdoors around it. Looks like a bin. Barrels in the back, chests in the front. Put this armor rack in the middle. Thought it makes sense to go there. And then on this side, kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge of shit, really. This is meant to look like some form of beer barrel type situation where you tap one of the barrels, it fills one of the kegs. We've then got a workshop, basically. Slightly more expanded. Just got a bunch of like random blocks in it, really, to make it look like it's functional. With that, this room is essentially completely done. Okay, with that, we will say goodbye to this room, and furthermore, goodbye to this room. And we're moving on. First order of business is going to be to bring this hallway in a bit, because I don't think it makes any sense to keep it going all the way back there. Now that is going to be a ball ache to make, because I was never very good at organics, even back in the day, so that's going to be a fucking... we'll see how that goes, let's just say that. Which leaves on this side, really probably should put another room then. Okay, so I think it makes sense to put a barracks here. Important to note is that this room is not going to be anywhere near as terraformed as this room. It's going to be a nice, uncomplicated, easy room. Alright, so what we're going to do now, I think we're going to use World Edit to just kind of vault the ceiling a bit. So let's have a crack at that. That's about right. Let's keep this going to the end, and then we'll do the bit by the door. Okay, now we've got the base shape. I'm going to paint all this with stone, and I think at that point I'm going to add in the slabs, and then we'll add in the different textures. It's so incredible the difference that adding in slabs, stairs, and walls makes. And okay, much better, much better. Right, so now we've added in all of the detail blocks to make this look a little bit more smooth. Now we've got to actually figure out what the hell we're going to put in here. I'm going to put some pillars along the walls and in these two corners here, because I kind of have wanted this room to be part au naturel and part very definitely excavated or artificial. So to gel the two, I think it makes sense to put some pillars here. Then I think what we'll do is we'll do bunks along the sides, and then in the middle we're just going to put some form of table on here, and we'll make it very clear that that's for eating. I have no idea what to do in terms of getting other blocks in here and vegetation. Do we want to try and do something similar to in here? I don't know if we can just replicate this in here. I think to an extent we're going to have to, because otherwise it will look really inconsistent. Again, I want this to be this is a little bit more artificial, this room. So, in fact... no, that settles it. Because the room is artificial, we won't put vegetation in here. We're just going to put the other textures, like the deep slate, the tough, mossy cobblestone, that sort of thing. Little bit of mossy cobblestone won't go amiss. Let's put the pillars in. I'm thinking I can get away with deep slate. Let's give it a go. 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 And we're going to have to bring in this part of the rock wall in to kind of blend into the pillar a little bit better. But I think let's just do that. So that's there. I know that we're not using very much black stone and deep slate throughout the rest of the build, but I think for the purposes of the military section of the underground bit of the city, we can get away with using these darker textures. We won't when we get back above ground, and also, actually, when we come to do this side, we're going to go back to using considerably lighter textures. But while we're over here, let's stick to these. So, time to do these middle ones. Had to reshape the room a bit, but I think I'm pretty happy with this as a side pillar. This is a little bit frustrating. Ever so slightly off between where this bows into the pillar and then where this crosses over. Can I be far? I don't think I can. So let's just replicate this on to this side. And done. Let's have a crack at doing some bunk beds. Bunk beds achieved. So we've mostly finished, I think, the interior on this room. I've been umming and ahhing about whether or not I can cram any more detail in. I mean, there's clearly space for that, right? Like, that back wall is just completely bare. But I think what's here currently is sufficient to the function of the room. We've got bunk beds, because this is a barracks. We've got some kind of detailing here and here, and then we've got like just some tables where the troops would be able to just, I don't know, eat. Fairly bougie as well, actually. I've been putting these to act as plates, but they actually just look like when you're in fancy restaurants and they serve you things on slates rather than plates. So it's a pretty bougie barracks, but you know, let's just stick in our texturing blocks. Okay, let's think about how we want to do this then. Fuck it. Let's just get stuck in. Ugh, immediately fucked it. This took quite a bit longer than I would have liked it to. Not gonna lie, I wasn't the most efficient today when I was doing this, but yeah. Textures are all added, and with that, I think we really are actually kind of finished on this room. I also ornamented the arch a little bit. Few little interesting points that I've tried to do on the texturing. What I tried to do was simulate with the darker textures the shadow of these buttresses. My thinking being that the lantern's hanging underneath the buttress, so everything in this cone should be in shadow. As a result, I've tried to mimic that with the darker blocks. But anyway, with that texturing done, that is this room done. We can say goodbye to this room, meaning we have only to really do this hallway before calling this whole entire side complete. That's pretty good. And I do have a rough idea for what I want to do here. So I was always incredibly shit at organics back in the day when I was playing Minecraft, like as a kid. So to challenge myself, I want to put some sort of statue here, and I'm thinking it's going to be a soldier holding a shield and a spear. That is the plan. Let's see how it goes, huh? It could be a totally unmitigated disaster, but I have hope. Okay, we've got a plinth. Now I guess it's time to actually try and fucking build the thing. Oh, poof. Okay, this could be quite rough. It was. So let's skip forward a bit, hey? Okay, many hours later, here we are. This is not too shabby, if I don't say so myself. I kind of didn't realise how little space there actually was to put something here, so I just kept going through iterations of this statue, starting off at the bottom, essentially way too big, and then eventually I ended up finally getting it into my fucking thick skull that I only really had about 4 or 5 blocks across and like 3 or 4 blocks deep to actually make something. I also messed around with a whole bunch of different palettes. As you can see from this thing. Now that I look at it again, I'm very glad I didn't go for this. I basically tried to make it look a little bit more alive by adding the colours that we've been using, these kind of blues and turquoises, whatever. You could probably argue that this prismarine is green, to be honest, but fuck it. At the end of the day, though, I just kind of thought this looked a little bit weird. Like, it's meant to be a statue, not like a fucking mannequin in a John Lewis. Transitioning. And so I ended up alighting on this, and I think it looks pretty good. It's quite filled out. It's not much of a power stance. It's not quite the power stance I had in mind. I kind of thought more of the spear leaning out, but there was no way of doing that without getting very disjointed. So at the end of the day, I had to go for a pretty static stance. This is meant to represent the guy's foot being forward, like his left foot being forward, and the cloak that's covering the bottom deforming around that, but it's a bit of a reach. Anyway, I think for the scale and for what we're going for here, I think it's pretty good. And so now, all that's left to do on this entire section, really, is to just tidy up this hallway, make this hallway look a little bit more gooder. Alright, the hallway is looking a little bit more interesting. Didn't want to do too much here. It's very much a liminal space. Put some banners along and a little bit of detailing. And then added a little bit more, I suppose, structure, maybe, you could say, to the roof. And with that, I'm happy to call this whole side complete. I am pretty happy with how this whole section turned out. It's meant to be a kind of military base of operations, I suppose, and barracks for whatever unit would be stationed down here in this part of the city. But yeah, I think we've got a neat blend of kind of terraforming and then, you know, also decent detailing within those spaces, except that fucking fireplace. And I tried my hand at some organics and it didn't come out looking like total diarrhea, so hey, wins all around. With that, we're going to say goodbye to this area and tackle this side, which is going to look quite different from over there. But how is this going to be different? Well, as you can probably already see from just this, it's going to be a lot more opulent, because what we're going to stick in here is a guild hall. Now, do I know what a guild hall actually is? No, I don't. What I think it is, what this is going to be, is just a place where all of the different trade units, trade groups, trade associations would meet to discuss things like the economy, for instance. I don't quite know how I feel about it. Some bits of it do look a bit odd, like this looks a bit odd. I kind of am limited on how far or how long I can make this, because if you do that, you're outside. So it literally had to stop here. In the middle here is the main room, really, of this point. This will be sealed off, so I'll put a door here. But this is going to be the actual meeting room of the guild. So unlike on the other side through there, this is meant to be very kind of opulent. So it's not really meant to look natural. It's meant to look like it's been carved out specifically for the purpose of housing this trade body. At the moment it's a bit difficult to tell, or a bit difficult to see that, but we're going to make this place look really, really borderline over the top. We're going to bring this floor pattern through and we're going to make it way more jazzy. No, jazzy's the wrong word. But we're going to make it look really over the top and opulent. We're going to carry on these pillars through. We may even change the walls. I think the idea here is that this is an association that prizes making money more than anything else, and as a result, they're going to deck their place out so that anyone coming in here knows, hey, look, we make a lot of money. First things first, let's bring these pillars around. We have made some progress. So I've just taken these two pillars and extended them all along these two walls. We then joined it up with a bit of a, I don't know what this would be called, a fresco? A frieze? Maybe a frieze. Let's call it a frieze. Along the top here, this is going to mark the boundary between essentially the wall here and the roof there, which is going to be very different from each other. And in here, at least, we continued the arches forward using the warped hyphae. Then we put in this, well, I can't decide if this is interesting or just a complete eyesore. It's somewhere in between, I think. What I've done is I've just taken the grey terracotta and put it in randomly at different orientations to make it look like each piece is a different stone. Kind of like granite. There's also granite there, but kind of like granite in real life, where it's like really glossed. That's what I'm going for here. So, question is, what next? I think let's tackle the roof before the walls, and certainly before this room. I cannot decide which one of these I prefer. This is just prismarine and prismarine bricks, and then this is dark prismarine with warped planks. That looks like shit. The safe option, I think, is definitely this one. But I'm wondering if this is also the boring option. If we're going for like all-out opulence, I feel like this is the best one because it's like it's quite in your face. It's more in your face than this option. This is more understated. But at the same time, I'm wondering if this everywhere is just gonna look a bit fucking much. I think with World Edit, it's not going to be too difficult to go from this to this if we put this everywhere and then realize that it's fucking disgusting. So let's do this one. How does it look like from afar? That's a little strange. That's a little jarring. But to be fair, the light's right next to it. Okay, yeah. I think we've got to realize that the lights are not going to be right up in the roof. So we're not actually going to... there you go. There you go. See, that looks a lot better. Doesn't look quite so jarring, and I think this is more like how it's going to actually be. Okay, let's move this into this region, because I'm also intrigued to see how it's going to look like in here. It's a little bit difficult because the pillars don't match up one-to-one. I'm going to try see what happens if we just link the pillars in a bit of a zigzag. So we just go from here to there, to here, to there, to here, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. Here we are. We've done the zigzageriness, and by and large, it's pretty good. Now, looking back on this in the edit, it kind of looks like a pile of stinky poo-poo. What I will say is that with the final lighting in place, which we do in a little bit, it looks considerably better, so bear with me until then. So, okay, now that we've got this roof in place, let's now see what we can do about these walls, because they are looking very grey and very plain. So my thinking is to attempt to use the same diorite calcite quartz gradient that we've been using in the pillars and in the buildings outside through there, and see if we can come up with something that looks cool like that. Okay. I am a little concerned that if we make all of the walls look too much like the pillars, then we're going to lose the shape of the room. This is not even going to look like a pillar, right? That's just going to look like the wall. So we've got to come up with something else for the walls. How can we solve this problemo? All I needed to do was swap out the body of the pillar to this quartz pillar. And I think that's enough to provide the differentiation that we were really looking for between the pillar and the wall behind it. Then again, that's just my view. Could be totally wrong. Could look like total dog shit to somebody else. Anyway, the next thing to do is figure out the lighting in this place. I don't want to tackle this room yet because I want to do this room really properly. So I'm thinking, let's get this bit done first and then worry about that. Okay, lighting. At what level do we want the lighting? I think that's the first thing to figure out. What about that? Even that, I think, is still too much. What if we bring it down to that level? Just knock all of these down one. What does that do for us? We're going to split it from left to right to try out a few things. Let's think on this side we'll do chandeliers, and they'll hang with the light emitting blocks at this level, but they're going to be more towards the middle. So let's bring these into the middle, see how that looks. Roughly the middle. It's a bit of a shit show trying to find the middle in this place. Ooh, okay. That is quite moody. That actually also really makes that gradient look good, because it's like at about the right height that the natural shadow is coinciding with where the diorite is. That's actually quite cool on that back wall particularly. I think that's going to be difficult to top. Let's test out then on this side light coming from wall sconces at about, let's say, that level. I prefer the hanging one. So, chandeliers it is. Okay, so here's the finished look. I'm very happy with these. I think they're the right size. Basically, I couldn't get away from the fact that anything other than essentially a block in thickness was going to just be too big for the space. We essentially have just stuck a floating campfire underneath a chain. And if you look too closely, you can definitely tell that that's the case, at which point the illusion is shattered and it looks like a shitey nightmare. But it's going to be viewed kind of in the corner of the screen or to the side of the screen. So when you're looking at it like that, you really don't see it. It looks like a cohesive unit. It doesn't look like this is floating. So I think we're all good. We can consider the job done. These I've added in essentially to solve a lighting problem. If you get rid of this and you get rid of this, then these corners are really quite dark. So I was thinking, okay, how the hell do I add light here? And essentially every other solution that I came up with was too bright. It was turning the lighting of this central bit up way too much, such that the halls then looked weirdly dark. So this was the level of illumination that actually was in keeping with the rest of the hall. And so I thought, okay, fuck, I've got to put candles here. What do I put them on and why would they be here? And so that's why we've kind of got this situation going on. I think what I'm now going to add in are some rooms, and these are going to be offices for officials, a few officials of the guild. I'm going to put them along this wall here. Okay, the oldie offices are done on this side through this door. It's a little bit of a shit show of a door to get through, but here we are. This is essentially a waiting room. Not really much going on in here. For the roof, for some reason I thought of old English castles with the, like, beamed roof. Oh, great. What a brilliant time to start recording, Joel. On the right, through the big door, we have the big boss in what is a actually pretty small office and a pretty dimly lit office, actually. Maybe I should do something about that. Another time. This is basically just where the president of the guild would take audiences and write. This is meant to be a stack of papers. Doesn't really look like a stack of papers, but it does so more than any other block in the game. Yeah, not much going on in here, but I didn't really want this to be kind of too much of anything. This is just kind of ticking a box, really. Through here we have where all of the minions would work, as you can see by the much shitter roof and plain floor. Another way that I tried to make it look like this was a little bit of a kind of shitter room was to add a few more kind of random textures into the walls. So we've got whatever the fuck that is. What the fuck is that? This is white terracotta. This. Fuck off! It's polished sandstone. It's polished sandstone. It came back to me. Polished sandstone. Just wait for it to come back on. Hey! And then this is, what the fuck is this meant to be? What is this meant to be? I suppose this is meant to be like a cork board or something. I don't know. It's a bit strange to try and make an office environment in the style that I'm going for here. I keep thinking of my actual fucking office and thinking, it's really difficult to make the office environment not fucking boring. How do you do it? I don't know. Anyway, so that's this section of rooms. Then what the fuck are we gonna do over on this side? I am running quite low on ideas. I think, what the fuck would this be used for? I'm starting to think, actually, maybe the function of this space is just to look impressive. In which case, fuck it, it can be empty. It doesn't need to do anything else. Yeah, I caved on the leave it empty it's bowl idea pretty quickly and decided to build a little storage room instead, so here you go. Do you know what I'm thinking could go here? And over there. It's another fucking statue. It's another fucking statue. If we had a statue at both ends, it would give a reason to actually go over there, because currently there's no fucking reason to come over here. It would just be full of pissed off people that have come over here thinking, oh, fucking hell, there's nothing over here. What? Like, fuck's sake. Okay, but like, seriously, you would not believe how long it took me to make that statue. So, this could be a real fucking mistake here. But equally, it could be glorious. How much space have I got to work with here? What I'd have to do is, like, the body of the statue over here, and then, like, an arm raised up there. And that's the way that I'd have to deal with the awkward tilt of the space, or skew of the space. Let's try and see what this looks like. Oh, fuck me. Okay, I can do a 3x3 base. Okay. Good start. This is looking rough. He's got 1 foot forwards. That's why the rope's billowing a bit more out here, perhaps. The whole thing is just such an exercise in throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Ugh. Okay, I've got a lot of fucking trial and error to get through, so I'll see you on the other side. Fingers crossed I actually, come up with something. Well, many, many hours later, I'm so okay with this. We got the hand raised up there. That looks like a finger. He's doing a really aggressive just point. Fucking gripped fist on the right here. Chest plate, just like the Augustus statue. Just like it. I'm not going to look at it for too long, because if I look at it for too long, I'm going to start wanting to tinker with it again. And I simply can't be fucked. I did end up essentially flipping it over onto this side rather than starting from scratch. And then I made a few adjustments to it. So like the base is a little bit different. Still got the very tightly gripped fist here. Helmet's a little bit different. And then this arm it's raised, but it's not fucking raised, you know what I mean? Okay, I think I'm happy with this now. We've got a little bit of functionality in the storeroom there. We've got some offices there. We've got statues at the end, which at the very least, give the curious, oh, what the hell is this place? Oh, statue, I'll come down here and see what it is. It gives a reason for why someone might come down here, so I'm okay with this now. I don't think we need to do anything more to this bit of the build, I think, essentially. What we do need to address is this. First things first, actually, let's do the door, because I want to stick a door on this. I don't want it to be open how it currently is. I want there to be a big, grand door on there, and it's going to be closed. Let's try this first. Up. Okay, what are we doing about the middle bit? That's our basis, and then we just got to go from here. Try and figure out how to make that look less shit. Okay, what about this? Button, 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 button. Button, button, button. Is that too many buttons? Don't think it is. Does that work, though? Ooh, I think it does. I think it does. If I then put that there. You might ask, what is it meant to be? Do I want to do anything cool here? What happens if we stick a lodestone here? Bang, bang. I'm okay with it. Let's do a polished underside there, and let's maybe futon stair, like that. Fuck, way too far. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, what are we going to do here? I think the easiest thing is going to be to stick some pillars in these corners. Okay, I think that's a suitable amount of chunk to the pillars in this room. Alright, so we've got the pillars in on both sides. I think now what we need to try and do is put in the dividing line between the walls and the roof. So I think what we'll do is we'll take this section over here like that. Now for this side. And I think what we're going to end up needing to do is push this up a bit after we've done this. That's good. That's a good shape. Okay, put that on the other side, and then let's worry about this gap. Can bring that in by 2, that in by 2, 1, 1. Do I need to be doing that? Can I get away with a slab here? Maybe I can do that. Okay, but now, what are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with you? I think I'm going to have to basically replicate this arch. The reason why I was wanting to get away from this, right, is because we're going to have a wall, and then we're going to have this overhang, and then now we're going to have the roof start basically there. And so there's this disconnect here between the wall and the roof, and I kind of wanted that to not be the case. I kind of wanted to be able to go straight from the roof into the wall, but honestly, I think having this little bit of added structure here is probably going to be okay, and it's going to mean that we get a much cleaner roof. Yeah, fuck it. That's fine. Diorite works, actually. Okay. To start on the roof, let's try and mimic what we've got out here. Prismarine and prismarine bricks. Let's try with this. I have a feeling it's going to be too light, but we can try. Okay, I think that's the curve that we want. I'm just going to put the whole shape down in the prismarine bricks and then damage control from there. Alright, so we've got the shape of the roof. This took a surprisingly long amount of time, to be honest. Predominantly because of the ends here, trying to figure out what the fuck this was going to look like. I still am kind of a little bit about it, but we move on. So now we've just got to make it a little bit more interesting than being entirely made out of one block. So I think let's try and get some prismarine in there. And actually, let's also mark out where we want our lighting to come from. I think what I want to do is 2 larger hanging chandeliers. I think we're going to try and keep this border in prismarine bricks, and then once we get to say here, we're going to switch to normal prismarine, and let's see if we can make that work. I'm actually, as I look at this, I'm a little skeptical that we're actually going to be able to get away with having more than one block here. I really don't know. Let me do the walk-in. Let me imagine that I'm walking in. And also we have to remember that it's way lighter in here than it's going to be when we're actually done. Okay, I'm walking in, I'm walking in, I'm walking in, I'm looking around, I look up. Let's put the lighting in. Let's put the lighting in. So I copied over the one from the big arch, this one, and then I've clearly made some amendments to it. Oh, I think we might have just sussed it. Or, actually, I've just thought about this. We did that. Would that look okay? Okay, nice one. Nice one. I think we found it. So let's just flip this over to here. It's a bit big. I doubt that a single chain could hold this up, but oh well. It's a little dark. Let's imagine a torch here, here. Stick one there. Yeah, that's not going to be enough, actually. Ooh, okay. Okay, I think the real thing that needs to be addressed is the fact that the floor is really still in darkness. Like, I think if the roof is in darkness, that's kind of okay. We definitely need to do something about that. Let's do the wall sconces. How the fuck did we do it over here? Oh, I'm just going to copy this, actually. This is okay. Yep, I'm going to shamelessly copy from myself from earlier. Little better. Right. Before I can light the floor, I think I need to actually do the floor. So let's do that next. All right, here's the base shape. So this is a meeting room. And my rough thinking is that this bit down here is where whoever is speaking would be stood. And then on the first tier, we'll have thrones for the most important people in the guild. And at the back here, we're going to have benches for the less important people in the guild. So what do we want to do? I think I need to make the floor a little fancier first before I put these chairs in. There is no shot that this has just worked out like this. Look at that! Okay, we don't have much space. We really don't have much space here. For the floor, I think let's just use the grey terracotta, granite, and an andesite. This is quite a lot of grey. That is a bit more like it. Alright, floor done. And I think I've also solved the lighting issue on the floor here by adding in this sort of lamp design. If you're wondering whether these look familiar, they are. Basically the same thing that we've got out here. And with that, this room is very nearly done. What is left to do? I want to try and get some streamers in here. I don't know if streamers is the right word, but these sort of banner things in here. But I kind of want them to be a little bit more substantial. If I had one coming in there, one coming out there, drooping down along here, and then coming back in like there. Let's see what we can make of this. I can't have them droop too far down, right? Because fire is right there. That looks very shit. We might have to go too wide. Yeah, okay, let's do too wide. Gives us a little bit more flexibility. And it's on fire. Let's rethink that. Actually, tell you what, let's rethink this whole thing. Scrap the flammable materials for now, and go back to thinking about the chairs that are meant to be lining here. Okay. I don't think I've really got room for chairs here. What does this look like? That thing is, that doesn't look like a bench. That just kind of looks like stone. Okay, if I do this... This looks like a bench. Yeah, let's do this. I do think we need to put something in here. I don't think we can just leave it like this side of the room. Otherwise, it's a little bit vague what this space is actually for. I'm just going to add in, really sporadically, this red nether brick. Adds a little bit of colour. Okay, that's the middle tier. I'm going to put in somewhere kind of secretary's table for taking down the minutes. Let's do them over here. Okay, so we got benches on the middle tier. We got the 2 secretaries' tables for taking minutes. We got 2 of them. Let's put in another set of benches up here. Looks better with stairs back here. Okay, I think the seating is good in here now. And the floor is done. Do I want to do anything to the walls? I revisit the streamers, perhaps. Right, the 2 at either end work. Is it going to be a bit too much to put them on this side? It would definitely be way too much to do 1. But, like, could I do 2? I think I could, to be honest. Okay. I think we can call this room complete. And, with that, we've completed what I had planned for this video. We've now finished both sides of the initial entry chamber, and I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out. They're very unique from one another. On the one side, we've got the military section, which is much more austere, and in rather stark contrast, a much more extravagant, opulent space for the trade guild that would be operating out of this city. But now I suppose it's time to do something about this. Oh, yeah. That's quite enough for today.